Hey, here are 5 stupid things I've noticed about Star Wars. Darth Vader is a bitch. Sure, he can choke people with his mind, and he duels Luke Skywalker one-handed in The Empire Strikes Back. He's a big guy in a black suit with the voice of James Earl Jones. But he's almost always just doing what he's told. First by Peter Cushing, which I totally get, because I'd choke my grandmother to death with the sleeve of her own sweater if Peter Cushing told me to. And then by the Emperor. It's tempting to say that it was the prequels that ruined Darth Vader, but really, by Return of the Jedi, the guy had been demoted to glorified construction foreman anyway. He arrives on the half-finished new Death Star and announces that he's come not to crush the rebellion, but to put them back on schedule. Ooh. It was obviously made up as it went along, but no one will admit it. The Empire Strikes Back would be one of the greatest sequels ever made, except that it's not a sequel. It's the second episode of a planned and carefully plotted trilogy, right? No, sir, that's a sequel. Whereas my evidence, I have all I need in the films themselves. In its original form, Star Wars is clearly not intended to be an episode in a larger saga, but a single, standalone, self-contained film. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Luke's character arc is completed, and all of the loose ends are tied up at the end, except for the survival of Darth Vader, which is left open-ended as a tease for a possible sequel. Other evidence in the original Star Wars that George Lucas is now rewriting history when he claims he always intended it to be a multi-film saga. Darth Vader is clearly not intended to be Luke's father, nor Leia his sister, and Darth Vader is the guy's name, not a title. And what's so bad about any of this? Nothing. Star Wars is a great movie. Empire is a great sequel, and Return of the Jedi is a pretty good one. Why not just call them what they are? Because honestly, it makes George and his producers and writers look a lot better if we assume that they were just making this all up as they went along. Because otherwise, we have to assume that they intended from the start for Obi-Wan Kenobi to be a shameless old liar and for Luke to spend over 2/3 of the trilogy wanting to fuck his own sister. Embarrassment about the holiday special. This one's stupid for 2 reasons. One, George Lucas needs to get the fuck over himself. You're not Akira Kurosawa, dude. If you think that the holiday special is any tougher to sit through than the prequels, you need to watch those fuckers again. 2, they're just leaving money on the table. An official DVD and Blu-ray release of the Star Wars holiday special would be a record-shattering bestseller. And we all know how George feels about money. He likes it. Skepticism about the Force. Isn't it odd how nobody in these movies believes in the Force, despite the fact that it's demonstrably real? This isn't a matter of faith. Darth Vader is actually choking people with the Force. Luke and Yoda and the Emperor are actually throwing shit around with the Force. It's real. Imagine if that's how Christianity worked. I bet if Benny Hinn were actually healing sick people by laying hands on them, the dude would be shown a bit more respect. A bit. Benny Hinn's still an asshole. George Lucas. You're not Akira Kurosawa, dude. I said that already, didn't I? Well, it's true, he's not. He's not Steven Spielberg either. Who is he? He's a guy who, with help from some more talented collaborators like Irvin Kershner and Lawrence Kasdan, created 3 of the most successful films ever made. They were all box office smashes. They attracted a large, loyal fan base. They were well liked by critics. To a filmmaker, that's like winning the World Series. And what did he do then? He tweaked the editing. He added new scenes, deleted old ones. He changed the special effects multiple times, even going so far as to digitally replace actors 20 years after the film's initial release. He couldn't help himself. He still can't. He can't just leave it alone. He keeps tinkering with his World Series winning team. No, he's not Kurosawa or Spielberg. He's George Steinbrenner. The hardest part is only picking 5. Catch you next time.